Today we're making a Thai curry chicken pizza. This is one of those fusion ideas that you probably never thought of trying, but it is extremely delicious and super simple to make. Let's get started. Alright, so to make this Thai curry chicken pizza, first of all, of course, we're going to need some pizza dough. This is our homemade dough. Recipe is linked below in the description if you don't have that already. Then we're going to be making a green curry sauce. So in order to make this sauce, first of all, we're going to need about 75 to 80 grams of curry paste, as well as 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, which is what we'll use for sauteing that initially. Then to that, we'll also add 1 full can of coconut milk. Keep in mind, this sauce is going to make a lot more than what you actually need, but it's just much easier to get the ratios right if you do this all at once. And any extra sauce you end up with, you can either use for making regular curry, or you can just stick it in the freezer and use it in a future recipe. The next thing you're going to need is some brown sugar. Do about 2 tablespoons, which comes out to about 32 grams. And then you'll need 1 tablespoon of fish sauce and 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. Then on top of the pizza, we'll of course have some mozzarella cheese. I have about 8 ounces or 227 grams. Some chicken, which I'm going to be using some chicken thighs here. I have a little over 8 ounces here, which I'll be chopping up. And then I'm going to be seasoning that with, first of all, completely optional, some MSG. If you don't want to use MSG, that's fine. But I do recommend, regardless of whether you do that or not, to do a mixture of paprika, garlic powder, onion powder, and black pepper. This is, of course, not salted, but basically this is the seasoning mixture that I have, that I put on my grilled chicken in general. Now, of course, if you already have used our grilled chicken recipe, you can use that grilled chicken. I just highly recommend that if you're going to use it, you saute it a bit before using it, because otherwise, because of how moist that meat is, it produces a lot of liquid, and then you end up with just kind of a mess on top of your pizza. So that's one of the reasons why we're going to be doing chicken thighs today. I'll set aside the spices here. But other toppings that are going to go on top of the pizza, a blend of a quarter pepper each of yellow, green, and red peppers. And then finally, one of the most important things, some Thai basil. You can use regular basil, that'll work just fine, but I definitely recommend doing the fresh stuff. And although this looks like a lot, it's going to shrink down quite a bit. We probably won't use all of it here. This is about roughly 30 grams of the Thai basil. We'll probably end up using half to 3/4 of it. But with all that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started getting everything chopped up and prepped. We'll get the chicken cooked and the sauce made, and then we'll get everything put together. Alright, so to get this sauce going, first of all, we're going to do a small saucepan over medium-high heat. Go ahead and add to that our tablespoon of coconut oil until that has a chance to melt. Once that melts, we're going to go ahead and add our curry paste directly to the oil. And you're basically just going to saute this for a little bit until you can really smell it, until it becomes nice and fragrant. Don't saute it too long because it does have quite a bit of heat to it. Now I do want to note, once again, this is about 75 grams of the curry paste, but you can do less than that if you want. And this is going to be more of like a medium level of spice. We're not going to let that go very long though before we add our full can of coconut milk, which in this case has congealed a bit on the bottom, but that's not a problem. Start getting that all stirred together and mixed up, turning into that nice green color for the curry sauce. And as that's going, we'll add our 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce, and then our 1 tablespoon of fish sauce, and we mix. We basically just want to stir this until it starts to thicken a bit, which it won't get super thick, but it'll thicken a little bit. And then after it's had a chance to do that, we'll set it aside and let it cool down so that it'll actually be more usable as a sauce for our pizza. Really, it only needs a minute or 2. I would basically just heat it until it's boiling and let it simmer for about 2 minutes. Alright, and after it's had a chance to simmer for a little bit, we'll go ahead and turn off the heat. Move that off to the side so it can cool down. And then heat up our skillet to cook the chicken. To our skillet, we'll add just a little tiny bit of coconut oil. Only need roughly about a teaspoon. That's plenty for this amount of chicken. Yes, I'm using the same spatula that I used for the curry sauce because it's not going to harm anything. And realistically, it's just going to add more flavor. So we'll add the chicken to the skillet. And then just cook it until it's brown. Alright, now that everything's prepped, we're going to go ahead and start assembling our pizza. Start with the dough, get that stretched out by hand. Now, something to note when it comes to cooking this, as in case you haven't seen any of our other more recent pizza videos, with our homemade dough, which once again, link down in the description below for the recipe. If you are cooking standard in the oven, you don't have a pizza stone or a cast iron pizza plate, you want to do it at 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes to cook the pizza. If you are doing it on a pizza stone or a cast iron pizza plate, as what I am doing, or even technically you could do the bottom of a cast iron skillet, you want to do it at 550 degrees, in which case you'll actually be putting the pizza stone or the pizza plate in the oven ahead of time. And when you do that, so you heat it up to 550 degrees, and then you'll be putting the pizza in the oven for about 6 to 7 minutes at that temperature, then switch it over to the high broiler setting and cook it for a couple more minutes just to get everything on top nice and brown and crispy. But we'll go ahead and get this assembled, starting with our curry sauce. And it's pretty thin, but that's just how it usually ends up, unless you add stuff to thicken it up, which I'm not going to. Or, well, I chose not to, mostly because of the fact that it actually just kind of harms the overall experience. It's harder to get it properly thickened without, like, adding cornstarch or xanthan gum, which, let me tell you, don't add xanthan gum unless you're really, really careful about it, because if you add too much, it just turns into, like, this slimy substance that's just not even worth using. It's just awful. So, if you use it right, it can be great, but my experience, I have not had a whole lot of success with it, and so I just don't use it anymore. But we'll get that spread out pretty fairly. Keep in mind that, for one, the sauce is going to be pretty spicy, even with the bit of sweetness that's added from the brown sugar. It's not like spicy, but it's spicy enough. And you just basically want to cover it up. Don't go too overboard, because some of it will probably end up spilling over during the cooking process. And then we will put on top of that our mozzarella cheese. Once again, this is 8 ounces, or roughly 227 grams. And I'm using whole milk mozzarella. You can use, obviously, whatever kind you like. I like using the whole milk and then shredding it up myself, just because then they don't add any of the anti-caking agent, which just kind of changes the texture and everything. And I don't know, it's just way better when you have it shredded like this. Even though, at least with the stuff that's not the low moisture mozzarella, it does clump a little more sometimes, but yeah, it's fine. It'll melt the same way, and really it kind of melts better. Then we're going to add a bit of our Thai basil. We're going to go pretty generous with it, Once again, this stuff is going to shrink a lot. And furthermore, the more you add of it, the better flavor you get, because just Thai basil is amazing. So good. Adds so much flavor and just goes so well with the curry sauce. So we'll go pretty generous with that. We'll probably add a bit more on top of the pizza as well. Then we'll do our chicken, which this of course has had a chance to cool down. Otherwise I wouldn't be handling the pan like this directly. One thing I forgot to mention with the chicken is it is good to add salt. Now you could technically have just cooked the chicken in the sauce, but the main reason I don't do that is because of the fact that we end up with a lot of extra sauce and we want to use all of the chicken. Plus also it just kind of helps you to get all the flavors nice and distinct, and it just, I don't know, it goes really well for this pizza. Then we're going to add our bell peppers, and we'll just use as much as we can successfully fit on here. There's a whole lot of different veggies you could add to this pizza to make it, you know, more like what you'd find in Thai curry. I thought about bamboo shoots because bamboo shoots are typically found in green Thai curry, but I just think they wouldn't work so well with the pizza, and bell peppers are something that I have often had in authentic Thai curry, as well as, you know, my own not so authentic but still delicious. And they just, you know, they work well for pizza, so we'll stick with that. I think we'll just do all of them. And then finally, since we already put down a fair amount of basil underneath, we'll just sprinkle a little bit extra on top. And I know it seems like there's a lot here, but it is going to shrink a bit, and it's going to just add some extra flavor, so it's well worth putting a bit more than you would think you need. All right, pizza's all assembled. We're ready to get that in the oven. And now the taste test. Came out gorgeous.
It's falling everywhere, but oh, that's good. That's better than last time. All the flavors of Thai curry on a pizza and that fresh basil just adds so much to it.
All right. Grab a nice looking piece here. I'm not going to make the same mistake you did. I'll hold it over a plate this time. I'm so glad this time I added that extra basil under the meat and everything. Man, that basil makes such a huge difference having all of that extra. It's just like, if you like green Thai curry, you have to try this pizza. It is so good, it is so easy, and it's just, you have to try it. Thanks for watching. Please leave a like if you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and share with your friends, and stay tuned for more recipes that, while not necessarily authentic, are always delicious. First of all, we're going to need about 75 to 80 ounces of green curry paste. Then to that, we'll also add, which comes out to, and then you'll need 1 tablespoon of fish oil. And then we'll get the chicken cooked and get everything put together. Turning into that nice green curry sauce